Hi, I'm Sydney, and I am a servant of the Almighty God. Continuing this series on recognizing God's omnipotence, I wanted to talk today in this episode about one of the results of us recognizing God's omnipotence, and that is global adherence to the rule of law. So that sounds like a little jump, right? But let me walk you through this real quick. So, like we're finding out with science is revealing that we were intelligently designed. Like you'll see a lot of information now, like recently about vitamin D, for instance, right? That we need that vitamin D to ward off cancer, to ward off brittle bones, and there may be so much more. But we get vitamin D primarily from the sun. Some of the same rays that would harm us, right? So we have this delicate balance where it's like, yes, some of the sunlight, because if you're inside a building and the windows can filter out some of the things you need to form vitamin D, which we all need to be healthy. And so what we see here is that it's either plants and animals, including us, have something in us that designed us or adapted us. So you see, this is intelligence, right? This is not random. This is something intelligently saying you're going to need this and this, just like the other plants and animals that I'll be talking about. You're seeing an intelligently designed things within our ecosystem. So science is showing us that we were intelligently designed. And so now we attribute that, and science is all doing it, you'll hear it all the time, nature, Mother Nature. And so as a servant of the Almighty God, my inspiration, and when you look at it, you would recognize it too. Mother Nature, nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence. When we see all these intricate designs, this working with this, like DNA and stem cells and the interaction within our ecosystem, the entire recycling of every organism, it dies, something consumes it, it goes back around. We don't do that. We just create things and we dump them and burn them. So we see that great intelligence that designed all of us. And how does that turn into adherence to global adherence to the rule of law? Well, once we recognize, and science has tacitly admitted that, right? Science recognized, oh no, we can't go like this is random. Mother Nature designed all these intricacies. Even us we seeing now. Mother Nature, the manifestation of God's omnipotence. That is what designed us. God designed us, designed this ecosystem. And not only did he give us this, and he also gave us the rules to live by. The original, and I talk about it in my book, pick up a copy. Humanity's Inflection Point. These are the inspirations in the book. The first and original rule of law. And what's the rule of law? These are laws like the laws of nature, right? And I talk about it a lot in the book because these are the inspiration that's started all of this, that brought this all together from what started when I was very young. What we call the rules of nature. These are laws that apply to all of us, every single one of us on the planet, everything on the planet. The laws of nature apply to every single one of us, and none of us is above those laws of nature. Similarly, we were given the commandments, right? We were given the commandments, and those were the original rule of law. The commandments apply to each and every one of us, and none of us is above it. So once we start recognizing that, oh, we product of a benevolent, omnipotent force, the Almighty God, then we'll go back to that. All the stories that are being told and reported in these, all the stories could change. The commandments are what's original. It's what says, I give you all of this, but here are the rules that you must live by, because there are consequences. So once we get to that point, and like I said, science has already tacitly admitted this. They call it Mother Nature. But religion, I still go back to the stories. But let me tell you stories about this guy who lived here and what he did. And totally absconding the responsibility to accept that nature is the product of the manifestation of God's omnipotence. So we're not looking at 2,000 years or hundreds of years ago, we're looking at today. As science discovered, we are just marveling at the magnificence of the omnipotence of our Creator. We recognize, wow, and this was designed billions of years ago. When we go back and science reveals, yes, this has been happening. Like when I talk about the corolla spider using quartz. Who knows, billions, millions of years before we discovered the qualities of these things, that spider was given that ability by the Almighty. And so you'll hear Mother Nature did that. Well, nature, when you hear nature now, think the manifestation of the omnipotence of our Creator. And so once we get to that point where religion recognizes this, nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence, we don't just look back. Religions won't just be looking back and dividing us and saying, well, no. We see nature applies to all of us. The commandments apply to all of us. And it will be a sad day for autocracies. A sad, sad day. Because one of the things about autocracies, or two things, and I've written about this, again, pick up a copy of the book, you will see the inspiration that came. Two of the things that are always part of any autocracy are coercion and deception. Because the deception is whatever the ruler says, that is the truth. Whatever. So you always have lying eyes, right? Because you see something and the leader, the autocrat at the top, says, no, it's not that, it's something else. We see this all the time. They can murder citizens. You could see, tanks rolling over people, and that never happened. They just change it. You can see, things that cannot apply. The courts of law will say absolutely, but people, and I believe there is something spiritual in this mass hypnotism, because I've talked to people who just can't recognize truth anymore. It's whatever the leader says. But that will be the end of autocracies, because we recognize, just like the laws of nature, we cannot change them. We cannot deny the laws of nature. So too are the commandments. The commandments apply to each and every one of us. And we will turn our existence to praising, recognizing globally. That's right. So whether people look at monotheism or multiple gods, the God and the angels that some religions have, or the one God, but when we look at our ecosystem, we see everything works together. Sometimes we're like, wow, how can you design things with skeleton on the inside, skeleton on the outside? Who knows? We don't know the answer. But what we see, they all work together. And so we will eventually recognize that singular being is responsible, whether there were workers or whatever else, but we can see that conformity in our ecosystem. There is nothing that says, no, I'm going to die and do something, I'm just going to explode and blow up and just no, everything conforms because it's part of a system. That's what we see in nature. Everything, many things we don't understand yet. And so we will all religions will turn to that one being at the very top. Not the ones that we create. Someone dies and they did a good job, and you say, well, okay, that's my God now. Someone died, did a good job, that's my God now. No, that one was not the architect, the designer, the engineer behind the creation of what we call nature, the works of nature. And so all people will start recognizing that. And I don't know when. It would be nice if it started. Because then we'll have that man must be subject. We were created by, and we were given rules to live by. The rules are here. And so if we discard all the stories and go back to those basic rules, that's where we get away from autocracy. Because autocracy, it's about someone making rules that they are not subject to. Think about it. Think about any autocracy. Is the person making the rules, can you accuse them of committing a crime? You don't. But when we look at the laws of nature that apply to all of us, the commandments apply to all of us. We, even though, judge not lest ye be judged, there is one judge, but we can face honesty, as I talk about Haley. Haley, honesty, altruism, love, and inclusion. We recognize that's nature. Nature is perfection. Because we may think, well, why does this happen? Well, yes, but you look at it, it's not just one incident, it's part of a system. And things flow through that system. We may not fully understand, we may not agree with it, but we will understand that our Creator, we all need to be in obedience. We need to obey the commandments. And so these wars where, it's like, this one was created by this one and he was the son of this one and we are special and so we can murder. Well, no, the commandment says, no, you don't do that. And so we face truth. And so gradually, when religions recognize that science has tacitly recognized already, we were created by an intelligent being. We would recognize from religious scriptures the commandments that we must all follow. And that will flow across the world. You've gotten the information. And think about it. Look at, when we hear nature, nature, nature. Think the manifestation of God's omnipotence. This is the Creator being revealed to us. His works being revealed to us. When I talk about the laws of nature, I call it the rules of creation. Because we see it. We see DNA. It's like when I talk about, we always knew there was some correlation, some connection between parents and children. We could look at them and say, oh yeah, I couldn't, Well, that's not, with DNA, we understand that. Same thing when I talk about there is memory, there is something else, like with the spiders. They don't teach their kids, and the knowledge, when I talk about, that fish, that the archer fish that can shoot, that jet of water, it wasn't taught that. It's that memory is in there because it doesn't have to train and practice. It's in there. And I talk about us being complex. We have to learn so that we can be good stewards. We learn to nurture so that we can become good stewards. All of these things will become apparent, and churches won't just be about their congregation, but being stewards of the world. Those who are involved in conservation are better servants. They are serving the Creator better than those who just go to church to dress and then discriminate against others because they are the wheat and others are the chaff. No, nature's for all of us. The sunlight that we need to make vitamin D goes for all of us. That's the way that He created it. Diversity is His. As servants, we must honor that diversity. These are the rules that will be in time as science is revealing the intelligent being that we recognize as nature. Because nature can do all these things. Nature is magnificent, intelligent, benevolent. It creates all these things. Think about something simple. There are a couple of things I like to emphasize. Things like hibernation. We could not teach an animal to basically the physiological changes for it to sleep for up to 5 months with no food. We could not change, we could not train an animal, we could not change an animal to do that. Things like echolocation. Those are the things that we attribute now to nature. Yes, absolutely. Because nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence. Because He can. With Him, all things are possible. And so it's a matter of time. It's time. And so we may be in that trough. From one mountain, we're in a trough to rise to. Because we technologically, we may be the greatest that have existed. Maybe. But spiritually, we deny spiritually the everlasting spirits that are around us and influence us. We deny that. But science is revealing it. Religions, they are looking backwards and they are focused on creating little cliques and ending wars and justifying almost genocide. We need to move on. So as we move forward, that coalescence, when I talk about humanity's inflection point, when what science is revealing, religions follow and recognize. We are talking about the Creator. And now you can see how it will go into that globally recognizing. Just like we recognize nature universally, we recognize the omnipotence of the Almighty God. I want to thank you for taking the time and remind you it's no coincidence that you encountered this. Take it out and run with it. Pick up a copy. Pick up a copy of Humanity's Inflection Point as I go into more things and in greater detail. And I want to thank you for taking the time. And until next time, may God bless us all. Thanks.